Hey there, record collectors! Boy, we're really going to have some fun today. We're going to be selling a fantastic collection of Beatles records, books, posters, all sorts of memorabilia. Just step this way. Okay, now the Beatles, as you know, sold millions and millions of records. So how could any Beatles record be a rarity, I hear you ask? Well, let's go straight to the jewel in the crown here. John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Now, this record was originally put out with a picture of them in the nude on the cover. There's the back of it. I'm not going to show the front because this is a family show. But the record companies, the record shops wouldn't handle it. So Apple Records, EMI, gave up on it. And another company, Tetragrammaton, bought it and they couldn't sell it. So Track Records bought it and they put it in a brown paper cover. There's the brown paper cover. And they still couldn't sell it. And in fact, I had the whole world's supply of these blocking up my studio when I worked for Track. 10 boxes about that size, full of these. Now, as you know, they're worth thousands of dollars. And I was silly me, only ever took one or two of them home. And I've only got one left. But there it is. You can see the record's in good nick. Certainly is in good nick. One of the rarest records in the world, of course, would be a John Lennon Yoko Ono album that had been worn out, because I don't think anyone's ever going to play it many times. But it's wonderful to look at, and you'll really be a Beatles collector if you buy this. Now, if you check on the web, you'll see that a copy of Two Virgins, very similar to this, sold recently for $1,434 Australian. This one's got a little tear on the brown paper bag and pretty normal shelf wear. So I'm going to sell it for a bit less. But wait, there's more. I want two things. I want some more shelf space in my house, and I want to know that my collection's not going to go to the tip. So that's why I'm selling it all as one collection, and that's why I'm going to add up the quoted prices for similar items from the web. I'm going to throw in a bit of a discount, and I'm going to use that as the starting price for an auction. Let's see what else we've got. This album here by Paul McCartney was released only in Russia. Paul wanted to do something for his Russian fans who often couldn't buy Western records. So he bought this out, and it was only available in Russia. It has sneaked out into the West in other pressings, but this is the authentic original Russia-only release. I looked on the web, I'm surprised to see they're only worth about $44 Australian on the collector's item, the collector's market. But you can see that the price, the overall price of the package is going up. So where's it going? It's going to $1,777 Australian, and then I'm going to throw in a discount, and then I'm going to call that the starting price of the auction. There it is, Paul McCartney. Okay, what else have we got? Rubber Soul. What a great album. English pressing, $33 Australian. Now we all talk about the swinging 60s. The year that Sgt. Pepper came out, the biggest selling album that year was The Sound of Music. Can you believe that? I'm going to throw this into the collection. And I forgot to look up on the web what they're worth, so I'm throwing it in without adding to the cost. Now what have we got? Well, we've got the Two Virgins at $1,434. But we're selling that for a little less, as I said. The Russian album at $44. Rubber Soul at $33 Australian dollars. The Sound of Music at $0. And to go with the Russian album, here's an album from Russia, or probably the Ukraine. I can't really look it up because of the Russian alphabet. I don't know what it's worth. I'm going to throw this in for nothing. It's very much of the same Beatles era. Band on the Run at $40. We've got Venus and Mars, which we're calling $46. And the John Lennon rock and roll album at $11. This particular copy, I don't suppose it's any different than any other English copy. It, and along with this poster, were given to me because I worked in a recording studio in London. I was invited to Apple the day that Apple closed down, and because I worked in a recording studio I couldn't go, so some kind person at Apple sent me the poster and the John Lennon album and a couple of other little presents. So they've got a bit of history to them for me. Probably means nothing else to anyone else. One more record we're throwing in here, and we're throwing this in for nothing. This is my own CD called My New Guitar, and on here we play a Beatles song, we play Twist and Shout, we play the guitar parts and drum parts as close as we could to the Beatles, and we took all the Beatles vocal parts and played them on the guitar. Oh, I love that ending. Now, the main reason we recorded it was so we could get to play that ending. Here we have 8 copies of Beatles sheet music, very dilapidated. A lot of scribble in it where musicians have been learning the songs. We'll throw those in. 8 sheet musics, we'll call that $8. They keep going on about how nobody knows what the mystery chord is at the beginning of Hard Day's Night. Well, there it is, it's right there in the sheet music. 6 books of sheet music, we'll call these $5 each, that's $30. The songs of John Lennon, Abbey Road, without a front cover, I think. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Venus and Mars. Now, some of the music, as I said, has been scribbled on by musicians learning the songs. Maybe you'll get a few correct chords. They don't always put them right in the sheet music. Here's a good one. We're calling these $5 each, these books of sheet music, but here's one they'll never print again. The sensational Beatles Australian Tour Souvenir Album. There it is. And some of the songs have had a few extra chords scribbled on them and things like that. And this one's had a joke scribbled on the caption, but don't worry about that. You get the same nice photo without any scribble on it in this book, The Beatles versus Elvis. How about that? Souvenir song folio. It features songs by the Beatles and by Elvis. Heartbreak Hotel, Money, Blue Suede Shoes, Witchcraft, Kansas City. Are you lonesome tonight? You'll never be lonesome with a collection like that. 3 very interesting books here. Well, you all know this one, John Lennon, Spaniard in the Works. Similar copies to this, I've checked on the internet, $55. Apple to the Core, all about the last days of Apple. I'll call it $5. Now, this book is not well written. The writing style's not very good, but it's got all the facts in it and everything. Hamburg, it's a fantastic thing to read, all about all the bands that played in Hamburg and everything that went on there. To go with the Beatles Hamburg book, here's a fantastic edition of Record Collector. If you are a record collector, of course you want to read Record Collector magazine, and if you're a real collector, you don't want the latest issue, you want an old retro vintage issue. There's terrific stories about everything to do with the Beatles in Hamburg in here. A lot of information that never came out before it was in here. This is a 1997 copy of it. I'll throw that in for free. Here's a magazine, came out in 1994, all about what it was like 30 years ago, as it was then when the Beatles came to Australia. We'll call that $5. We'll call this one $20. The Beatle album, originally sold for 3 shillings. It has had a picture cut out of it, but it's in reasonably good nick. Great stories about it. Tells you about each individual Beatle, who they are, just in case you don't know their names. Tells you about a new show they've just been on, some guy in America called Ed Sullivan. And how about this one? We'll call this $10. The Facts About a Pop Group. Now, you probably know most of it, but there might be some little thing in there that'll just help you to form your own pop group. You could make a fortune. You could make a whole career out of it, out of one book. Now, let's be clear. A lot of these items are not in mint condition. The Lennon Ono record, 2 Virgins, is in very good nick, and all the records are playable, but everything's been sitting on a shelf. They certainly haven't been sealed up in plastic since the day they came out. Here's a book, more Beatles sheet music and some more very interesting information. The Beatle years, I'll call that $10. Here's a bit of secret bass player business. Now, don't dob me into the bass players union, but I'm throwing in 3 bass player magazines, a special Paul McCartney issue, an issue that specialises in singing and playing the bass at the same time, which of course features Paul, who would even claim to be a greater singing bass player. And another issue in which Abbey Road recording engineer Jeff Emmerich tells you how he got the Paul McCartney sound onto a record. I'll throw those in for $1 each. Let me also say, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't try to contact me through YouTube. The message will just get lost. I'll never see it. Send an email to the address at the bottom of the screen there, or you can look for me on Facebook. From what I can gather, looking all of this up on the web, it would be worth $1,777.38. I'm going to throw in for nothing this copy of Instant Karma, scratched up and probably worth nothing, and that's what I'm going to ask for it. And I'm going to ask for the whole package, $1,300 as an opening price for the auction. And if it goes up from there, well, it only goes up because collectors think it's worth it, and you'll be able to either add it to your collection or on-sell it. As Joe the Gadget Man used to say, bring your money with you.
I'd like to say thank you on behalf of the group and ourselves.
I hope you enjoy the auction.